The Banshees of Inisherin, out in theaters, latest film from accomplished playwright turned movie director Martin McDonagh, reunites him with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, also stars Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan. Was nominated for 9 Oscars at the upcoming awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Editing, Music, Best Leading Actor for Colin Farrell, Best Supporting Actress for Kerry Condon, and Best Supporting Actor each for Brendan Gleeson and Barry Keoghan, which is pretty spectacular as far as acting nominations go. I mean, all 4 of the main cast have been noticed. I was very, very excited to go and see it, hearing the critical buzz that it was getting, and just because I absolutely loved all of the previous films from Martin McDonagh. And walking out of the theater, I thought to myself, I'm not so sure I was all that amazed. In fact, I'm not so sure I understood it all completely. But it really stayed with me, and I thought about it for days after seeing it. And after marinating in my mind, I now think that it is a truly great movie, and it kind of is its very nature that it's not an easy popcorn flick, surface level film that you need to digest it and you need to think about it and analyze its themes, and then it begins to truly shine. The story takes place on a fictional Irish island called Inisherin in 1923. It starts with Patrick, played by Colin Farrell, walking to the pub and greeting various people, and we immediately get a sense that he's a likable, nice person. He goes by the house of his longtime friend Com to pick him up, but strangely, Com refuses to even answer the door. He refuses to acknowledge Patrick and go to the pub with him as they always do. Nobody knows what's going on. Has there been an argument or something? And eventually Patrick pushes Com to confess what's going on, to tell him what's happening. And he tells him, well, I decided I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I decided I don't like you anymore, and leave me alone. And the story goes from there, with Patrick refusing to just let go of his friend and trying to rebuild their friendship against the wishes of the other guy, which leads to sorrow and tragic consequences. So the film starts as a dark comedy, but then progresses into something much more somber, a rather depressing tale reminiscent of the book of Job from the Bible. A man slowly loses everything without an apparent reason. On the surface level, the conflict is about wanting to do something meaningful with your life, even if it means sacrificing your relationships, versus not caring about the idea of legacy and just being content with being a good person in the moment. But that legacy, that doing something meaningful with your life, is kind of a smokescreen for Com, who in reality is struggling to come to grips with his own mortality and with the possibility that he too is mediocre. He can't accept that nobody will remember him, and he sort of puts the blame for that on his relationship with Patrick, even if there's no reason to do so. But in choosing this path of stubbornness, this also impacts Patrick himself. Com brings out the darkness from inside of Patrick. He makes him behave no longer like the nice man he was at the beginning of the film. By demolishing his own life, he demolishes Patrick's life just as well. And things continue to escalate without a path for anyone to be saved, really, except for maybe Siobhan, the sensible sister. And her role in all of this helped me unlock another meaning of the film, which is about the historical issues in Ireland, the Civil War that is directly mentioned in the film, and the later stuff progressing all the way up to the Troubles. The film boils down these tensions to just two men, two neighbors, friends, who one day cease to be so and start behaving irrationally. They let a difference in ideology divide them completely, and they enter a path of hatred and destruction. That is very much like Ireland as a whole, down to Siobhan representing the part of the society that left, that emigrated elsewhere. I've read one reviewer mention something interesting, that it wouldn't be a story about Ireland without someone leaving it, and I found that to be quite interesting and fairly accurate as far as I can tell. Then there's all the small surrounding characters, the local fool, the policeman, the creepy old lady who is clearly the banshee that the title speaks of, the shopkeeper lady, who I think is also very much another banshee, with her interest in gossip and sticking her nose in people's lives. I mean, I struggle to think of another film recently which would be so simple and so straightforward on the surface, yet so rich thematically speaking. Really impressive stuff. Performances are absolutely top notch from everyone involved, completely deserved nominations. The cinematography is beautiful and haunting, just like the film itself is. The music is very interesting because it doesn't sound Irish, and apparently that is something that the director requested from the composer specifically to avoid traditional Irish sounds or instruments. All in all, I think it's a spectacular film, although it requires effort from the audience to want to appreciate it. If you just watch it without giving it a second thought, I think you'll find it unremarkable. But if you can find the patience to unravel all the meanings and themes explored by the movie, it becomes a reward in itself.